Ketchup and Hustle is a podcast by two dadpreneurs and co-founders of Awesome Sauce. Follow us, Paul and Carl, the taller and shorter co-founders, on our journey as we build a business that is completely disrupting the sauce industry.
We are back with another episode of Ketchup and Hustle. I am Chef Carl.
And I'm Chef Paul.
Chef Paul, tell me, what are you wearing?
I am wearing a very meaningful shirt, Carl, and I think our listeners can see this on our YouTube channel. Shameless plug.
Thank you.
But a year ago, actually, we were just talking about this. A year ago, we filmed our episode for Billion Dollar Idea and then flew out to Minnesota to start the Techstars Accelerator.
So you've got a shirt that says "Awesome Verse Plastic" with the saucy verse.
And so this shirt,
it's got legs.
Yeah, I've got two of them, and I wear them regularly. And people,
wait, is one of them mine?
No, because mine are a more svelte size. So, yeah, so you see, so no,
I'm not sure where mine is. That's why I asked.
Very distinct which are mine and which are yours.
It's easy to tell. They're lettered.
Yeah, XL and 2XL.
Okay, then
sorry.
Taylor cut that part. Okay. All right. So we have a couple of really exciting things to talk about.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
We had a big week last week.
Yeah. So tell the listeners.
Okay.
Interesting enough, on this podcast, tell the listeners what we did last week.
So on this podcast, I will tell our folks that we were on a podcast.
Boom.
But it goes deeper and it's bigger than that.
It's so cool.
So we were on a podcast called The Pitch, which is a highly respected, well-watched, well-viewed sort of Shark Tank style podcast.
I will say, Paul, for years I listened to it. I mean, they have over 100 episodes or somewhere near 100 episodes. And like the history of the podcast.
No doubt.
Is really cool.
And so John Rafferty, one part of our legal team, was, listens to The Pitch. He listens to every episode of The Pitch. And so
they have, from what I can see, they have a very tight following.
Absolutely.
And shout out to the Muccios, who, as a couple, Josh and Lisa, purchased that from Gimlet Media to keep it going.
Good for them.
Which is so cool. And they did a phenomenal job of organizing this. So just to set the stage, we show up in Chicago, full garb, ready to demo. We stand up on this like studio. This studio is dope too.
It is a cool studio.
Like the sort of not underground, but like undercover, like celebrity recording studio.
Yeah.
The biggest in Chicago or something like that.
Yeah, and that's, I feel like a lot of studios are like that. You kind of...
I have no idea.
Yeah, well, as someone who's dabbled in studio life.
Shit, man, it was cool. It felt cool. We stood up there, and you're in front of these 5 people. We did our research on who they are, who would be a really cool investor.
Yep.
We had 15 seconds. No, 90 seconds. Sorry.
90 seconds to do.
Seconds.
So the structure was you have 90 seconds to do our pitch, and so we went up there and we did our pitch, and then they hammered us with questions for like an hour and a half, and
that it was cool. Like
totally. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
It can get sloggy because you're like, oh man, I want to show slides and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But you're forced to stand there and articulate it, which is a good practice.
Very good.
It's so cool. I cannot wait for when the episode comes out sometime early to mid
March
23.
Yeah. I think is what I think they were talking about. March is sort of like the
I think
average.
there's a range, right? Like
sure.
Everyone who pitched then gets a week or a month, or I'm not. When it comes out, I'm just going to be really pumped.
I agree with you. We can't say, of course, anything of what the results were and how that went, but can I say at least one thing?
Please. I would love to say one thing.
The one thing that I would say, which I think we can share, I'd like to think, is that the investors at the table loved the sauce.
Yes.
I want to be able to say that right now. Can I say that? I said it. I just said it, so it doesn't matter.
You did say it.
They loved the fucking sauce, Carl.
We did not find negative response on the sauce.
None.
Which is not something that we're surprised at this point.
I know, it's not. But still, when in bigger moments, like we do tastings and demos
all the time,
all the fucking time.
Everybody's like, "Oh my god!"
And so, but there are moments certainly when
feel
big,
important.
and so and me, you know me, where I'm like, it's got to be just right. I want the water level.
Oh god, such a pain in the ass. You like will make sauce, and Paul like gets his nose in there to like check it. Like, is it thick enough?
And did they love the sauce or not?
Not because of anything.
You cannot disprove that.
Anything but the concept of going powder water shake.
Powder water shake, baby.
Water powder shake.
They
Sorry,
loved it.
Lisa.
So they loved it, and that was cool. And getting hammered by them for an hour and a half, that was cool.
Yeah, just understanding the way, like it's really cool, and it can also be really shitty when you go in front of people who are asking questions. But you know, the Muchos did a great job of getting judges who understand startup, understand how to ask those questions, and really dive in without making you feel like, wow. And then, you know, they get excited about it, and they sort of
totally
take a line down, all that. Yeah.
Now I do have, it'd be what I found interesting, actually, one of the more interesting parts of this whole story, which we haven't touched on yet, which is how the heck did we get accepted to be part of the pitch? Like what wheel and deal? What is the route that you took, Carl, to get us in front of this panel of investors and to be on the show? Because
I have no idea.
That's not true.
What was it?
I don't know. Didn't you? You probably slid into a DM. I mean, I was setting you up to say that essentially.
There are a few DMs that I wouldn't slide into. However.
However,
no.
Didn't you reach out to Josh and somehow through DM or through some LinkedIn bullshit?
So I had found out that. So the real story is when I was working down in DC, 4 years ago, I was driving down and I would listen to the pitch, and it was just fascinating to hear these entrepreneurs talk about what works, what doesn't, and so. Now with my drive to the office, I was like, let me jump back into that and just get some, as we're pitching, get some ideas of how people are articulating things.
This is the real story?
This is the real story.
Okay, go on.
And so then I'm like, you know what? What if we pitched?
The pitch?
And the pitch was closed down. It was not a thing.
I see. So you said, what if we were on the show?
Yeah.
And then you went to see.
And it had shut down during COVID. It shut down. And then, like, not randomly, but by happenstance, I saw a post that was like, oh, wait, the pitch is back up. Do you want to apply? And so I applied. There's a process that you go through, and I hammered the people that are vetting out companies until they're like, yeah, just come on, get on here. Jeez.
All right. Well, good. Well, I mean, per usual, good on you.
Yeah, Kareem Maddox.
Okay.
Kareem Maddox. So
Thank
if
you,
he's listening
Kareem.
to this, shout out to you. Thank you.
And thank you, Carl. You from me to you.
Continually.
You do a very good job of getting us random ass opportunities for exposure that I appreciate. And they move the needle.
It's great. Okay, so second thing is to mention that we had the opportunity to have a discussion with an incredibly meaningful potential partner.
Yep.
So we've mentioned our focus on food service as we look at how our product is doing direct to consumer, how our product is doing on shelf, and then what are the other avenues that our product could succeed. We look at, and then how much does it cost and how much time does it take to really push those channels. We've settled on food service, and we've said, look.
Food service, baby.
We've got 3 clear value propositions that we cannot look away from, and it's going to be fast. It's going to be killer. We are bringing an ESG benefit.
Yep.
We are bringing an innovative and exciting customer experience.
Yes, we are.
And we have cost parity. And so essentially, you're looking at these food service entities that likely give sauces away for free.
Yep.
With little to no value in return. Sounds familiar?
Well said.
Thank you. We're bringing the value back in that. We're bringing value back.
Through.
A la JT. Thank you, Justin Timberlake.
Through
I'm bringing value
ESG,
back.
through innovative user experience, through cost parity.
That's right. And so to do that, we look at our company and you start to very clearly set these 3. We are starting to very clearly set these 3 pillars around our brand and what it represents, our product and how it's differentiated.
Yep.
And now we're starting to look at what is it being delivered in. So the delivery mechanism, whether that's a squeeze bottle, whether that's a manual dispenser, or what if that's this super sexy other thing? And so it becomes important for us to find partners in this industry who understand those specific areas of expertise. And we had a massive meeting. So I'm not sure what we can say and how we can say it. So listeners, just know that I'm trying to talk to you without talking to you.
We're trying to give as much information as possible.
Pauly, let's dive into it.
Yeah.
How did it go? What excited you?
So we met with, on Thursday we pitched, and then on Friday we met with the premier dispenser manufacturer for condiments.
Yes.
I said that differently. Condiment dispenser manufacturer is probably the order of those words.
And we're looking at them as, who are we partnering with to bring our condiments to market in an experience that would be the best.
And specifically around food service. Like, you can't go into food service as a condiment and expect people.
Cashier isn't going water, powder, shake.
Exactly. And so how is it that awesome sauce in particular is being made and served in the food service industry? And so that's such a critical spoke to this wheel, in my opinion. Aside from the sauce itself, it's like number 1A. I think the dispenser is massive for us.
Yes.
And our meeting on Friday was fucking amazing.
It was good. I think what's exciting is we're really looking at this of how are we communicating our brand and the values that our sauce brings and how to use them. How is our sauce different? So in the product, and now to dive into this third world, this third spoke. It's just it's so cool to hear people with that expertise. What's the thing that stood out to you in the meeting that we had on Friday with a dispenser manufacturer? Like, what's the thing that stood out to you? And I can go first if you want, but
go first, Carl. I'm not sure if there's one particular thing that stood out above the rest. So what's hitting you, and let me riff off you.
Yeah. So for me, I think what got exciting, it was a bit of an emotional side of it. So not rare.
Look at you with emotions.
I'm not sure what they are. I collected them, but I'm going to spend them all at once.
Well, let me try to digest whatever you're spitting out.
Translate for me.
Okay.
So just the idea of there's an excitement around it. Like, condiments are not overly exciting. Let's just say that.
That's fair.
It's fucking ketchup, all right? Like, I love nothing more than people be like, oh, what do you do for work? And I'm like, if I don't want to talk to them, I sell ketchup.
I sell ketchup.
And they're like,
that's a
huh?
No, it's not an interesting answer. Moving along.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm like, thank you. So I think that what was cool and what I'm remembering is just the level of excitement around something that presumably could be so boring. And then to think critically and creatively and say, look, we're dominating a certain channel, a certain lane, but in partnership with this format, it could open up a new channel or a new lane. And now we both win.
Yeah.
And so I think as I step away, that's the thing that I will remember as like, that was pivotal for our business.
Yes.
Because everybody was excited. There was opportunity for both parties to win, and we were all going after something new.
That's a good answer. I mean, I think
try and translate that.
I think you did a very good job of capturing your emotions.
Yes.
And sharing it with the people.
I hope my wife heard that.
And I, you're learning. You're learning.
Shout out, Lynn. I love you.
Okay. And so, I would agree. I guess the idea that for me, what I value most is the idea of partnership. Partnership being meaningful for the people that are jumping into work together.
Yeah.
And I love that when one strengthens the other, and then vice versa, right? And so, and it's kind of saying something similar to what you said, where
you say it in different words.
I probably just said it in slightly different words, but I did say I agree with you. so I enjoyed that. I also appreciate we got a look back at the history of their dispensers.
Ooh, that's a good point.
And so sort of like the evolution of their company.
Yeah.
And seeing sort of what they started with in 1940 and sort of now what they're doing, and then seeing a sneak peek at like some of the coolest components of their new shit.
Yeah.
I loved that. And so in many ways I am regurgitating in different words what you said. It was excitement for the partnership. It's excitement around the products that are related to either dispensers or the sauce. And so that was super cool. And we're going to head back out there.
And I think there's a piece that, like, again, as we think about just the ethos of this podcast and our purpose for doing this, I think it's hard to really put into words as a young company how some meetings are more or less meaningful. And like to have like the things that we're talking about, like the partnership, to really feel that true partnership is super, super meaningful. I mean, it just gives you the fire that you're looking for as an entrepreneur. It's not just like, oh, great idea. Like, oh yeah, we want to support. That's really cool.
That's a great point you make.
It's something different where you have another company who is depending on growth in an economy that's challenging. They're seeing the same things that we're seeing, just in different lanes. For them to get excited about what you're doing or what we could be doing together, that, like, for a young startup is fuel.
Yes, that is it.
I think that is important, even if those things don't come to full fruition.
Damn it! I hope they do though.
And if they look one way at the end, different from what you first thought of.
Yes. Yeah.
But it is still so important, because it's easy in this this journey. It's easy to like get bogged down and not get the actual fuel. And I think that is an element of the fuel, like that drives innovation, that drives entrepreneurship, where somebody's not just on the sideline saying, "Good on you, go for it. I think it's a great idea. I'm in full support." It's somebody saying, let's put two businesses together and make them work.
Totally.
And that's cool.
And so I feel like we've mentioned the importance of fuel and partnership and like getting that fuel throughout our journey before.
Yes.
And you need it.
Do you think it's unique to us, or is it?
No, it's definitely not unique to us. Maybe you and I feed off it a little bit more. I feel like
overemphasize it.
Over-index on it.
Over-index it.
Where
some may say
we need, like, we can get down. I mean, I think the roller coaster ride of an entrepreneur is real, and in lulls, it can. I mean, we're not immune to lulls, right?
Lows can be low.
The emotional tax that takes, and so we do value a lot when someone comes in and doesn't just say good work, fellas, we'll be watching, but kind of steps next to us and says, yeah, let's go do this together. And people have done that all along our journey. And this is one that I hope comes to the table, and we'll be excited to share more about it.
I can't wait. And it's all right. So then let's hit one more thing.
There's one more topic, and
one more topic.
I've got to be in my bonnet about it, to be honest.
I'm not sure what that means, but cool. Also in the founder's journey and just startup world, it's a little fucking thorn in a side. Is that what being a bonnet is, presumably?
Well done, yes.
It's like some Lancaster bullshit.
Okay.
Whatever.
Sure.
So updates.
Yeah, so we as founders have to, and for good reason, write updates. We have to write company updates. We have to be in touch with investors and potential investors and friends of the company who have been along this journey and want to.
You gotta let people know what you're doing.
Want to continue to be a part of this journey and stay up to snuff on what we're doing. And so, it can that task of writing an update has been left to this guy right here, me, numero uno.
Don't you? No. Can't say numero dos. That seems fucked up. But.
Yeah, right. So I have been writing our company updates since we were accepted into Techstars in November of 2021.
Who high indexes on updates. Like they're looking for daily updates.
Techstars
That's wrong. They're not looking for daily, but they are looking for weekly.
Weekly, and then as you transition out of program, they talk about monthly being about the right cadence. They use the word cadence a lot, and so then quarterly will eventually be what we do.
So I want to try, just go down this path with me. I want to try and dissociate updates to cadence.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that? Is that a fair thing to do or no?
Well, there's that's what we have been doing, and so I thought, and the way I feel about it is that during Techstars, and partly because you're in program, but we were doing weekly updates during Techstars because they wanted to drill into you the importance and the regularity of doing these things, and then you finish program, and then you start to jump into monthly because you got to keep a rhythm going on, but what happens if your month sucks? What happens if you have 2 sucky ass months where your business is a little slow, you're kind of going back and forth on, are you direct to consumer? Are you going B2B?
Well, I actually,
and so hold on. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you're saying, what if it sucks? What about if it's just not suck or not good? What if you're just working?
Just working.
We're just working.
There's nothing great to report out. There's nothing terrible to report out. But yeah, I mean, there's minutia that happens, and especially for a young company like ours, I think there was a moment, and
we're not built out with staff. Like, there's some stuff where you're like, hey, we're gonna get onto Amazon.
Yeah,
we should probably put that in our update.
Yeah, good idea.
We're gonna get onto Amazon. We'll takes a fair number of weeks to do that.
Yeah, it takes 2 months. Like, once you decide to get up on Amazon, and then you got to choose the partner.
You're spanning the time period of updates.
Yeah. So, exactly.
So what do you do in that middle update? You're like, still working.
Gee, thanks, Paul. That's great. Way to move quickly.
Good luck.
And so we took the history of our updates is that we did them weekly, then did them monthly, and in mid-July,
found out.
I was like, "Fuck it, I'm done writing updates for a little bit."
No, I remember you were like, "I hit a wall. I don't know what to remember."
Well, that's what I mean. I was like
I'll say we fought about it.
Yeah, we got in a little battle.
It was like a nitpicky, annoying thing.
Yes.
Where it was like, well, if I don't have we don't have anything bad to say. We also don't have anything.
But we could say bad things. That's where I disagree. I mean, we could say we've had 100 investor meetings and we haven't closed anything yet, and our sales are going slow. And let me show you how slow our sales are in the first few months. And we could definitely report out, all of the things that aren't perfect.
Some people would be like, hey, the value in this is seeing the discipline. Like, maybe you would turn some of those 100 investors if they saw you be consistent and candid enough.
Maybe.
Like, that would be an argument that I would feel like Brett would make.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I think they believe that there's value in being transparent about where you are and what you're doing, and that you can ask for help, and that you can put that out there, and that all of that comes back.
Does transparency equate to consistency though?
No, but it is the value that an update brings.
I guess my point in that is I think that's where we struggle, is like, we're not trying to not be transparent.
There's sometimes where I'm trying to be not transparent. We don't report all of, we don't put in there the shitty things. Like, I think about this as not advertising piece, but for a group of 200 people who get our updates, I'm trying to put our best foot forward while being honest about the struggles and the realities of our business.
Do you think we are more transparent on the podcast that we're doing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I don't know.
Is that weird?
I don't know.
Like, this is transparent.
Yeah.
We are.
If you want transparent,
we're shooting off the cuff because it is an important thing. Like I think the question that we're staring at right now is, okay, we have heard people be like, hey, where are your updates? Hey, we've heard third-party things, like somebody else talking about our updates. We're like, Jesus Christ, why is that the thing people are talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, it bothers me. I mean,
yeah, and so I think there is this element of like what, how do we value it?
Right, but if that's the question, then I value it as an opportunity to share meaningful, transparent updates with people who are on our journey with us. And I've kind of stated who that are. Mainly,
So that doesn't matter if it's good or bad then.
no, but the problem is that it kind of does, I guess. If we're just communicating back to investors, so we've got investors that have put money into our business.
Yep.
They are owed the full picture at all times.
Yes.
In my opinion, and I will always, our investors can call us. They do. They can email us. They will.
Yes.
And we will tell them exactly where we are, good, bad, the ugly.
Yes.
This update that we do is not just for the 12 people on our cap table, right? Who I think deserve every piece of information that they should get. It's another 200 people who we've met along the way. And I don't necessarily feel like some of whom we want to invest, some of whom we've been in conversation with.
That's fair. So I think what I'm hearing is we found ourselves with 2 feet in 2 different ponds. And there's one thing, like one pond is the newsletter, which is your kind of happy-go-lucky general public thing. Another one is your sort of meaty transparency that's for investors and sort of important people. And so we're trying to straddle it between newsletter and sort of internal update.
I think that's something that maybe we're not getting it right. Maybe we are.
Got it.
I don't know. And that's where you and I have gotten a battle where you're like, hey, where's the update? And I'm like, hey, where's your update for our investors? I'm like, because those are the people who I feel beholden to and who I feel deserve all that information.
Okay.
And you're like, dude, we haven't updated 200 people about some of the bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you want me to write the bullshit?
Yeah, it's a fine line though, because if it's
agree.
Like if it's an investor that you're building a relationship with,
yeah,
which one do they go in? Should they be getting the meaty or should they be getting the newsletter?
I know. I'm not sure I've figured it out.
I think we can both agree that it is an unfigured out equation, and we have yet to give our listeners a digestible piece of
we apologize. Sorry.
But
everyone.
That's part of it, man. I mean, and hopefully that's something that as we look back, this podcast in general helps provide is
let me just, before we leave this topic, we get updates from other companies.
We do.
And some of them are very transparent about
in ways that make you uncomfortable.
Very. Yeah, like I get an update from one of the companies who we love, and they're like, "Hey, guess what? We're almost out of money. Sales are questionable." And I'm like, "Holy shit! I can't believe they just said that out loud." But maybe that's just
I've never received that. When I see that, I'm like, I'd rather send them a text and be like, "You got it."
Yeah. Well, maybe you need to write our updates.
Wait a second.
Is this what's happening here? I would like to end this podcast
by transferring a responsibility.
With the handshake. Now transferring our monthly. Are we doing a monthly cadence? Are we getting back onto it? Because I would like that. A monthly.
I would like to publicly articulate that I'm pissed. This did not go the way that I was hoping.
This ended very well for me, and I am glad to be passing along after a year of writing updates for us. 1 year.
This aged poorly for me.
Carl, congratulations. I have an extended hand, and he just reached for it. Let's go.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining in for another episode of Ketchup and Hustle. We are so pumped to keep this going and give anybody who's listening the sort of inside scoop on what we're doing.
We appreciate you all.
Hit the link. Boom. Did I give it again?
Yeah, you did.
Got it. Hit the link. Awesome Pod gets you a 15% discount on our World Saver. If you've been listening to us babble about and you're kind of curious about our product, go on there and try it. If you need to re-up, go get yourself a little discount.
You know where they can go buy something now?
Talk to me.
Amazon.
And we're live on Amazon. I will request, if you do buy on Amazon, please give us a review,
please,
at 5 stars or higher.
Thank you.
Nothing under. Thank you.
Peace.